Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. I'm doing a reaction and review for the Last of Us 2 trailer. This thing is like 4.5 minutes. It's actually 4 minutes and 58 seconds. So this thing is almost 5 minutes worth of content, and I'm super excited. It's Paris Games Week right now. I normally don't follow anything outside of like E3 and Tokyo Game Show when it comes to like big video game events. But yeah, this is a huge deal. I'm honestly a bit surprised that it would come out during something that's not as big. So that's actually really cool. So because it's a nice little surprise, especially it's a nice surprise because it's coming out during Paris Games Week, which never really gets much coverage unless you're like really deep into it. And then it's The Last of Us 2, and it's like, yeah, let's do it during Paris Games Week. They had something ready, so they put it out there. So this is great. Very excited to see what we get, and we're just gonna head right into it and check out some of these new characters. And I'm wondering how much is gonna be like just a scene, because I feel like that's what this is, versus being like a legitimate chopped up trailer. Like, here's a moment from this part of the game and that part. This seems like it's just here's 5 minutes of the game, which still phenomenal. So let's see. So I would assume that that's not Ellie because she doesn't have tattoos. That's a pretty cool effect. I like that. That looks like an actual actress that I'm familiar with. I don't know if they're legitimately doing that or if she just happens to look like an actress. I can't think of the actress's name, but she looks like an actress. I'm like, her face looks very familiar to me. Maybe that is Ellie, because the sounds like Ashley Johnson. The grunts at least sound like Ashley Johnson. So this could, I mean, especially considering the first game, it could go through time, and that just makes sense. But it just doesn't look like Ellie, based off of what we saw from the last actual trailer. It doesn't look like her to me.
They are nested with Sid. Freeze them. They may know why.
I don't think he's coming back.
Yara. Where's the other apostate? Clip her wings.
Oh man. Oh jeez. Wow. That's dark. Ooh. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna assume that that's gonna end up being Ellie. People just go nuts in post-apocalyptic worlds, don't they? Yeah, that was a nice touch, and she ran out of bullets. She looks familiar too. Jeez. Okay, I would like to note that all of this is working right now, but they're in the middle of a forest, and this is The Last of Us. She's just like, but this is already horrible for them, and then it's just like, who knows when a clicker is gonna kind of just run through, because
Cut her down.
it's just the middle of an effing forest.
She's one of them. Let.
kind of ripped.
Watch your backs.
Well, unfortunately, we're like right at the end, so yeah, I'm like we're about to see him, and then it'll cut. Unfortunately. Okay, that's very interesting. That was. Oh, that was interesting. That's what that was. It's hard to say where that could even lie within the context of the game, because that literally could be anywhere. It's three characters that we have never met before. It's, the villain, the female villain character, seemed like she might be important, but she got killed off. I'm almost wondering if, I highly, highly doubt this, but this does kind of make me wonder if they have something planned for, like a co-op sort of storyline deal, which I think would be great. Because they've done that before, not obviously not The Last of Us, but they did that before in Uncharted. They did it in Uncharted, I want to say it was 2 and 3, and they have like legitimate, like actual story modes where it's just the characters. It's like taken out of context, and you'll be in locations that are from the other games, but it'll be like mini missions. And I feel like this could be what this is, where it's just like, who knows? We don't know who these characters are. They're just people. And it's like, I don't know what that means 100%, but you have three characters with different abilities. You have the woman who is about to be hanged, so she's got like the hammer, and then you have the other woman who can only use like one of her arms, so maybe she would have different skills or something like that. And then you have the third woman who has the bow, who uses like the bow and arrow. So I don't know if they're going back to that, but I think that would be really cool. Excuse me, to have like a side story that's, maybe just online only, that sort of thing. Or, couch co-op would be great, but, where we are with games, that tends not to happen, unfortunately. But that just seems like a cool idea. I don't know if that's what's happening. These could legitimately be characters that we know. By the time we get to this point in the game, it could be like one of these characters we've already played as or played with, and that's just how that ends up playing out, and then we see what happens to them after their capture, and this is just that sequence, and maybe this is how they do the sort of character thing with, of course, Joel and Ellie. We played with both those characters before, but maybe they're adding new characters for us to play as, because that's what that scene seems like when it ends, and it's like you got clickers coming at you. It seems like you're going to take over for one of those characters, and my guess would be it's the first woman that shows up. Like, she's getting dragged in before the woman who gets her arm like bashed in with a hammer, and of course before the third woman. So if I had to take a guess, I would say she would be one of the new playable characters in the game, and it's going to kind of transition from that cutscene to the clickers running in to gameplay where you play as this character, and then I was assuming we're meeting these other two characters for the very first time. So it's hard to say because of course all of them are brand new, so who knows? Like, I could be totally wrong, it could be the exact opposite, and you only play as the woman who came in last. Like, that could totally be how it plays out, but I don't know, that's kind of how I feel based off of what I'm seeing here. I'm just throwing out some theories where it's like, maybe they're doing, the whole co-op thing that they did with Uncharted before, and having like its own little story within the world, and it might be something that doesn't even come out when the game itself comes out, and this is just like giving us a bit of a clue as to, something to look forward to. I don't know, but considering this is really the second thing we've seen from the game, I would have to assume that this would be their day one. So it's still hard to say if this is just going to be single player stuff, but like I said, if it is, I would imagine we're going to play as the first woman who was getting dragged in, who was hung up. So I would say this is definitely pretty cool. There is a part in here that I definitely wanted to go back to with the second woman being dragged in, so I'm just going to play the audio. Because she asked her a question.
The other apostate.
Okay, yeah, so the other apostate. That seems like something that they kind of made up. I don't know if that's a specific term that already exists in the English language that I'm just not familiar with, but it does make me wonder, why are these characters important? Are there other, are they considered apostate because they're the other cured characters, kind of like Ellie, where she has that, she is technically immune, and these are other people that we know are also immune, and maybe whoever this woman is working with or for, they're trying to utilize that. Maybe they're trying to basically force what never ended up happening, at the end of the first game, which was, of course, them utilizing Ellie to figure out how to fight against the virus, or possibly figure out a way to fight against the virus. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see how this plays out for sure, but that was definitely cool. It was just 5 straight minutes, just about, of a cutscene, and it was just a cool set for sure. It's dark and it's raining. They're in the middle of the forest. They have like the burning car for light. Technically, we only see 3 villain characters, so we see 3 villains, 3 heroes, and I guess technically, if you want to count the clickers as just part of the villains, we see like 5 or 6 villains total. So it does make me wonder, like, the whole region of this little video, but that's definitely awesome. But like I said, those are kind of my theories that are in my head right now. Odds are, if I had to pick, one or the other, I would definitely say this is without a doubt single player, because like I said, it's the second thing we've even gotten from the game. So, it would be a cool twist. They could totally just be working on the main campaign as well as like this side co-op sort of deal right off the top, and maybe it'll just be a part of it, not like day one DLC, that sort of deal. Maybe it'll just actually be a part of the game where it's like you go online and then you have these 3 characters. So that could be it. But if I had to pick, considering it's the second video we've gotten, I would definitely say this is us going into a section where we play as another character, possibly a third, because we still don't know technically if we get to play as Joel in this game, because he's much older now. So, he's not like, he was already older to begin with in the last game. He already was starting to get gray hair, and it's like 10 years or so later after that. So it was like, he's definitely older, so I don't know if we'll actually see him as the playable character, as far as fighting and stuff like that. But it would be interesting, and if not, definitely Ellie, and then whoever, like I said, my theory would be it's the very first woman that showed up that was being hanged. I would say she would be the other playable character, or third playable character, if we do still get to choose between both Joel and Ellie. So those are my theories out there. I would say, if I had to put money on it, like I said, I would go with this is definitely single player stuff. It's just leading into the next section of the game where we switch to a brand new character. But it would be really cool if they did that. They kind of went back to like old school, well, I can't say old school, but it went back to some of the other Uncharted online components, and they're like, well, we have the main story here, but here are some characters that are either within the game or not even within the game, and they have their own story, crazy little story to go through as well, which probably ties in some way with the main game, if this is not just naturally a part of it. But like I said, those are just my theories. I like this in general, even though we didn't get to actually see the main characters. It's all new characters with like zero context outside of, the two, like the woman who went in with the bow and arrow came in to save the second woman, and she didn't give a crap about the third woman. So it's like, she's one of them. So it's like, what does that mean if they are, it's like basically 3 different factions coming together that are probably normally all enemies. But in this situation, it's just like, all right, well, let's fight to survive. That sort of crazy situation, which we've seen in the first game with David and Ellie when they teamed up, although he was kind of lying about it. But yeah, so definitely cool. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this. What theories do you guys have? Is this a part of the main campaign? Are one of these 3 women playable characters? Like I said, I would definitely go with the woman who, gets hanged in the beginning and takes the hammer out of the guy's head, especially because it ends on her. And it like zooms into like her hammer, and then we see the clickers in the background. So because of that, I would definitely assume that she's the playable character out of this situation, if not all 3, if this isn't an online thing. But we'd love to know your theories and how you guys are feeling seeing this, where we don't really get Joel or Ellie, and we have no idea what the heck is going on. We'd love to know how you guys are feeling about this. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it, and I definitely want to know your theories. Without a doubt, is this in the campaign? Is this like a side campaign that they're working on that will actually get, day 1 or something like that? Or is this just, like an online thing that they're kind of just showing us early on, and then you think it might actually come later? So I'd love to know your theories and what you thought about this footage in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.